right, so today we are going to work on chapter 4.5, okay, and this is actually called comparing functions, okay, so comparing actually properties, comparing properties of functions, okay, comparing properties of functions. So there's only 4 examples. Obviously, you have them printed out, okay, so you can follow along. For number 1, it says the flow rate of water in a water garden is 52 gallons per minute. Okay, that's pretty good. That's a lot. The graph shows the flow rate of water in a koi pond. Compare the functions by comparing their rates of change. So basically, what we're going to do is we need to write 2 different equations, okay, and then we want to compare them. So here, if the flow rate of water is 52 gallons per minute, okay, how could we write that? How could we write that? 52 gallons per minute. So we know whenever it says per, that means you're going to multiply. So this one would be 52 times what? M for minute, okay? And what is it equal to? That's equal to what? The amount of water, okay? So we could either write W or we could write G for gallons, okay? So I'm going to say that gallons is equal to 52 per minute. Now, if I want to compare that to this one, okay, to this one, remember, we're always really trying to write an equation in what form? What's the form that we like to write equations in? Slope-intercept form. So Y equals mx plus b, okay? Did I do that here? Is that in a y equals mx plus b form?
No.
It is actually, okay? But here the y is the gallons, okay? And we actually know that from this graph. So gallons is on the y-axis, was the up and down, and minutes is on the x-axis. What would you say is the y-intercept for this one? If there's something missing, what can I write in for it? Plus 0, right? You can add a 0 to anything, okay? So for this one, what would you say? Okay, so now let's write the equation for this one, all right? So what is the y-intercept for this equation, for the graph that's already shown? Where does it cross the y-axis, the up and down? Where's it crossing the y-axis? Where's it starting? 0, okay? So if I want to write this one, okay, I'm going to write it in a different color. So we know it's just still going to be G equals something per minute, and it is a plus 0. How do we find its slope? Any ideas? How do you find the slope of that one? Slope is considered what? How do you find slope? Rise over run. So if I wanted to get from 0, 0 to, this one has dots for you, how far would you go up? To go from here to here, how far would you have to go up? 120. And how far would you have to go over? Over 2. Then you can simplify that. Okay, what would that simplify to be? G equals, what's 120 over 2? 60 M. And do we really need to write the plus 0? No, it's not necessary. So this one's asking, compare the functions by comparing their rates of change. Rate of change is the same thing as slope, okay? So we're going to compare these two. Which one has a faster rate of change, or which one has a higher slope? The koi pond or the water garden? The koi pond, okay? So when you're asked to compare these, all they're really asking you to do is say which one is more, okay? So you would say the flow rate. And we're talking about this is saying the flow rate. The flow rate of water is higher, or you could say greater, in the koi ponds. Okay, the flow rate of water is higher in the koi pond. That's all you're doing. So we're just comparing 2 different graphs. But actually for all of these, they're not going to be in the same format, okay? So one's going to be like in words, and then the other one will either be in a graph or in a table, like this next one. Okay, let's try another one. For number 2, it says a bowling alley offers different birthday party packages. Party A is represented by the function C equals 7P plus 5, where C is the total cost and P is the number of people. Package B is represented in the table. So we want to figure out, compare the functions by comparing their y-intercepts and rates of change. So we basically have to write two equations so that we can figure out what's their y-intercept and what's their rate of change. This one, A, is already written for you. Okay, so we already know this one. But A, party package A is C equals 7P plus 5. So I'm just going to rewrite it. How would you write the equation for this one? Any ideas? What do you notice about this one? They're giving you numbers. Say it again. You're adding 9 each time, right? So how much would it cost for 0 people? $0, right? So what would be so if I wanted to write this, I'm going to write this in a y-intercept form. Okay, so slope-intercept form. Cost would be equal to what? How much does it cost per person? 9 times P for people. And was there any cost to start with, basically? No. So it's kind of like a plus 0. So this is asking us to compare the functions by comparing their y-intercepts and rates of change. So which one has a higher or a greater y-intercept? A. Okay, so package A, or you could just say A. You don't have to write package, actually. Package A has a greater y-intercept. Okay. What do you know about the slopes? Or rate of change. Rate of change is the same thing as slope. Which one has a greater slope? What's the slope for A? 7. What's the slope for B? 9. So which one has a greater slope?
B.
Package B. So write package B has a greater rate of change. Okay, rate of change and slope are the same thing. So what this is basically figuring out is you're basically figuring out, this is like for package A, whenever you, like this is talking about bowling. So whenever you go bowling at package A, basically no matter what, you're always going to have to pay $5. And then $7 per person. For package B, you only pay per person. Okay, so you don't pay that like startup cost, the first cost. Okay, that's how we can interpret these equations. It says, how much more will package B cost than package A if there are 12 people at the birthday party? So if we want to figure out 12 people, the cost for 12 people, how would I do that? If I have two equations, how do you think I can figure out the cost for 12 people? Multiply, okay? So for A, if I want to plug in 12, where am I going to plug it in for? Would I plug it in for C for cost or P for people? People. So cost equals 7 times 12 plus 5, and we're going to work that out. Okay, what is 7 times 12? You can do it on the side of your paper if you have to. What's 7 times 12? 84. Okay, so plus 5. So what's the total cost for package A? $89. Okay, now let's find the cost for package B. What would you plug into? Cost equals 9 times 12. Technically, we're going to add a 0 at the end, so you don't really have to write that part. So what is 9 times 12? 108. Okay, so the total cost if you went with package A is $89. The total cost if you went with package B is $108. This is where, like, it's actually really smart if you understand how to do a little bit of math, because I mean, if you were like planning a party, or you said, you know, so you guys are probably at the age where, I don't know if you still have birthday parties, but if you do, sometimes your parents might say, you figure it out, you tell me which is the best option. Could you figure that out? You can figure that out now, because there's kind of a big difference between $89 and $108. Like, what if they were going to give you the difference in money? You'd kind of want to know which one was cheaper, okay? So, if there are 12 people at the party, how much more will package B cost? So the question here is actually figuring out what's the difference between these. So you would do package B, which is 108, minus package A, which is 89. And what is the difference between 108 and 89? $19 more. That's the answer that we'd be looking for. Okay, so now we're actually going to use these graphs and use these functions to, do math, okay, to figure things out, not just to draw them and be kind of pointless, but we're actually going to use these to get answers. Okay, how about on the back? Okay, number 3, it says the total cost to rent any number of movies from an online movie rental company is represented by the function. The cost to rent movies from a different company is shown on this graph. Okay, we want to compare the y-intercepts and rate of change. So say you want to figure out if you want to do, like Amazon, I think you can get movie subscription from, or Netflix. Which one is a better deal?
Netflix.
Okay, well, let's prove this.
I already tried it though.
Good, but I want this scenario, yes.
Wait, you can do that on Amazon?
Huh? I don't know. I don't know how you buy movies, but I know that, well, isn't Hulu one of them? Okay.
Yeah, I like Hulu.
Okay, so we want to figure out which is the better option. Okay, this is how it could be relatable to your
Wait,
life.
Hulu or Netflix?
Sure.
Okay. Yeah.
We're gonna say this is Hulu.
I
Right?
want Netflix.
And this was Netflix. These are not real life. Hulu Plus. I am so sorry. Do I put the plus sign or actually write out PLUS?
Right, the plus.
The word?
Yeah.
Okay. Are we good now?
Yes.
Awesome. Okay, so we want to compare the y-intercepts and rate of change. So, Hulu, since we decided this was Hulu Plus, I'm sorry. Don't want to offend anybody. Hulu Plus, it's got to be specific here. The cost is equal to 1.5 M plus 5. What would 1.5 M mean? What does that basically say? 1.5 times movies. So what is 1.5 in terms of like money? $1.50. Okay, so they're basically saying they're going to charge you $5 to start, and then $1.50 for every movie you rent. Okay, we want to know, is that better or worse than this one? Okay, let's figure out our Netflix equation. Okay, where is the Netflix equation? So obviously we're going to have a C for cost, and we're going to have an M for movies. Okay, what's the part at the end? What's that called? That's the
Slope.
y-intercept part at the end. What is the y-intercept of this graph? Where does it start?
4.
At 4. Okay, so it would be at plus 4. And what is the slope? How do we figure out the slope of this line? Rise over run. So pick a point, and these are all like they go through like perfect things. Okay, so let's just pick this closest one. How far do you go up and how far do you go over? Up. Whoa there. To get from 4 to 6, how far do we go up? Up 2 over 1. So 2 over 1. So if I simplify that equation, we get C equals 2M plus 4. So here, if I want to compare the y-intercepts and rates of change. So which one has a greater y-intercept? We're going to say Hulu Plus has a greater y-intercept. Okay, what about the slopes or rate of change? Which one has a greater rate of change? Netflix. Okay, Netflix has a greater rate of change. So what does that mean? Okay, like having a greater y-intercept, what does that mean to you?
Flat rate.
So basically it costs more to start, okay, to do anything just to start with Hulu Plus. But it costs more per movie with Netflix. So we want to figure out which is better. I don't know. If I'm only renting like one movie, obviously I want the lower start rate. But if I'm renting a lot of movies, it's okay to pay a higher start rate if you're paying less per movie. Okay, so this is where this could actually be applicable for you. So what will be the cost from each company if 15 movies are rented in 1 month? So let's figure out what is our cost with Hulu Plus. Okay, what am I going to plug into? In for movies, right. So 15 movies. So cost equals 1.5 times 15 plus 5. So you're going to have to do a little math there. So tell me, what's $1.50, 1.5 times 15? Right, because that was the startup cost. Got it? Okay, so what's 1.5 times 15? 2250, okay? And since we're talking about money, how many decimal places should I really have? 2. Okay, so 2250, because I'm not going to write, oh, you owe me 22.5. Like, I'm not going to give you a bill for 22.5. That doesn't make any sense. So 2250 plus $5. So what would be your total cost for Hulu Plus? 2750. Now, let's find the total cost for Netflix. Okay, so let's see. If we rent 15 movies, which is the better deal, Netflix or Hulu Plus? Okay, even though you guys all seem to think that Netflix is always a better deal. Okay, so 2 times 15 plus 4. So this one's going to give you 30 plus 4. So what would be the total cost here? $34. So in this case, Hulu Plus is a better deal. Okay, even though you had to pay more to start. Okay, so it might be like your registration fee or something like that. So even though you had to pay more to start, it's a better deal. Okay. Last one. For number 4, it says the 8th grade class is selling pizzas and subs for a fundraiser. The amount of money they earn selling pizzas is shown in the table. The amount of money they earn selling sub sandwiches can be represented by the function M, so money equals 4S, which is sub sandwiches. Which food will the students earn more money selling if they sell 100 of each item? So for this one, for the subs, it's kind of easy because we already know that money is equal to 4 times the number of subs. So how would you figure out how much money they'll earn if you sell 100 subs? Where would the 100 get plugged in? For M or for S? For S, because it's the sub M is the total amount of money, S is the number of subs. So money equals 4 times 100. So how much money would they sell? Or would they raise? $400. Okay. How do we figure out how much money they would raise selling 100 pizzas? It doesn't have it in the chart. Can I write an equation for this?
500.
How do you know it would be 500?
Because it goes by 20s and then the other side goes by 100.
Exactly. Okay. This one has a constant rate of change. For every 20, okay, go from 20 to 40, it goes up to 100. Again, for 40 to 60, up 20, up 100. Up 60 to 80, up 100. So yes, you could figure out the trend here. 100, they would earn $500. Now, could you also go backwards and figure out what is the y-intercept? What would be the y-intercept? Thank you. So if they sold 0, how much would they earn? If you went backwards, if they sold 0, they would earn 0. So could you find the amount of money they earn per pizza? Because we know that its y-intercept is basically plus 0. How much do they earn per pizza? How much do they earn versus how much they sold? So basically we're figuring out how much does it go up divided by how much it goes over. So they earn 100 for every 20. I'm gonna write P for pizzas. If you reduce that, you would get money equals 5 per pizza. Okay, so you can also use these equations to go backwards. Okay, sometimes we do want to find the y-intercept. So here it says which food will the students earn more money selling if they sell 100 of each item? So which one would they earn more selling? Pizza. Okay. that is your notes. Does anyone have questions from this? Yes.
I'm still a little confused on how you got 100 over 20.
Okay, so we're figuring out, so basically we know that M equals 5 times P. So money is in the Y spot or the X spot?
Y.
The Y spot, because usually we're writing these as Y equals MX plus B. Okay, so if you were to graph it, and I'm not asking you to graph it, if you were to graph these, the money, how much you earn is right here. The number that you sell would be here. Okay, so you would be going up up 5 over 1 for each number. So if you sell 20, you sell 40, like this, you'd be at 100, you'd be at 200, okay? So you'd be going up just like this. So you can figure out how much you go up divided by how much you go over. Or you could figure out that whenever we have graphs or tables like this is always the X part, that's always the Y part. They always go in alphabetical order. So we could do Y over X, because slope is really how much you go, difference in Y over difference in X. Did that help a little bit?
Yeah.
Any other questions? Okay, you guys need to write this down. Your homework is going to be on page 315, starting on page 315. You are doing numbers 1 through 3 and 9 through 11. Okay, I know I typically do not give you guys homework on the weekend, but I'm giving you a good amount of time in class right now to start working on this. Okay, so get started, please.